Welcome to SafeSoft Solutions MarketDialer Administration Portal Demonstration Segment 2 for reports or reporting. This is a very robust feature, and I've gone ahead, and as you can see on the screen, we've already logged in as the administrator, and I've got some other tabs opened up already to speed through the process. And what I'm going to do is show you a couple of ways that you can get to reports or reporting for your agents. Statistical information. Now, obviously, I just said that when you log in as the administrator, you know that you land here on the Users tab. Now, from here, we can just click on Reports, and that will take us to the reporting feature. And you see here it says Server Stats and Reports, but basically it's more about statistics and reports for your agent. Now, if we wanted to go back to the administration portal, we just click that and it takes us right back. So, one way is we can go from here, reports, directly into some of the reports that we discussed in segment 1 of reports. And remember, in segment 1 we talked about the VDAD report, the closer report, and the agent performance report. Currently at this time we don't have a park report. It's there, but we don't have that feature operational at this time. So let's start while we're here. Now, if I click on this campaign summary, you're going to get something that looks like this. Now, it is helpful once you learn how to read this. If you have numerous campaigns as an administrator, this might be something that you could use to, instead of looking at one campaign, you could be looking at what other agents are doing in every campaign that you have active, as you've seen here. All these are active campaigns. And it's telling you that in this example, on the closer 11263, that you actually have some agents logged in and waiting to take calls. Now notice it says no live calls. Well, in this situation, that's because this is a closer campaign, and the closer is sitting there waiting for an opener or a fronter to send them in a closer call. Now, that would happen down here in this other campaign that we have set up. And you see we have two agents currently logged in this other campaign, and they are currently in calls or on calls with prospects at this time. You see they're not waiting and we're not paused, they're actually in call. So one thing you could do from this all campaign summary page is, well, that you know that you have some agents logged in on this campaign, you can click on it and that will take you right to that campaign. Pretty simple, right? Well, it gives you this breakdown. So let me tell you what you're seeing here in what we call the real-time screen. And as you recall, what I mentioned is that you might be somewhere here. When you first log in as the administrator, as an example, you would be on the screen that you clicked reports. And let's just go back and show you what we're talking about is this time on VDAD per campaign. So let's mention that. As I said, this is what we call the real-time report screen. And it's also linked to and from the campaign modification pages. And I'll show you that too. If you're here in this campaign as an example, the one we were just looking at with the two agents in call, if I wanted to look at the real-time screen, I could just click here as opposed to clicking the reports option. Now you saw it there. Let me just make sure you're clear. In the campaign section, I can click on campaign and pick any of my campaigns and click on the modified link here, as we've said. And then at the top is a link to go to the real-time screen just for this campaign. Now, if I go up here and I click reports, this reports, if I go here, it tells me per campaign, but once I click that, I actually have to pick a campaign from my drop-down. So if I do it the other way, it just redirects me right into the real-time screen for this campaign. Make sense? Or I could go here and I could go back and say I could pick whatever campaign I want to be in and click submit real quick. The trick is picking your campaign and jumping up and clicking submit real quick can sometimes not be so easy to do. So that's why I wanted to point out how you could get there from another place, meaning inside the campaign itself. All you have to do is click the real-time screen from there, and it'll land you right inside that campaign real-time screen for this campaign. And as you see, I mentioned we currently have two agents in call. We're showing that they're in call by what you see here in this highlighted section, and down below is the legend of what goes on here by these colors. How long an agent's been waiting, how long they've been in on a call and how long they've been paused. So let me continue with the explanation. Now, this report refreshes every 4 seconds by default. And you can change this refresh rate by clicking on the go, which is the 4 seconds. So if I click on go, that means to refresh every 4 seconds. If I click on the slow, that means to tell it to go every 40 seconds. And if I click on the stop, it's going to refresh every hour. Now, we recommend that you just leave it on go, and if you want to do a refresh now, you just click the submit button. That's going to update it right now based on clicking that refresh button, or excuse me, that submit button. So you have your choices there, the go, the slow, and the stop. Now, let's continue on with what you're seeing here. Some of the other things that you're seeing here that is on the page is your dial level. Now, your dial level is shown here, currently set at 1, and it can be anywhere between 1 and 4. The administrator knows that the dial level means how many telephone numbers we're dialing per agent. Okay? That's what that means. Now, you can ignore the trunk, short, and fill. That one is not used in our application. That's more for our PBX solution. And the filtering, as you might recall, this is the lead filter option. Remember, the lead filter is typically set to 5 by default, can go as high as 8. Right? And some of you know that you can ask your account executive to put in a none option, which is what is happening in this particular account. There is a none option being set for the lead filter. Now, as you also can see here at the top row, we give you the date and time stamp, what you are currently looking at now, the current day and time, right now, what's happening. Below that are the dialable leads in this campaign. How many leads have met the criteria, meaning the dial statuses that you set for the dial statuses 1 through 10, which will be called back, meaning they'll be dialable leads. Okay? So, the other one is the calls today. This is the calls that have been placed today. 18 calls have been placed so far while we've been logged into this campaign. And then next to that is the average agents that have been logged in. As you can see, there's 2 agents logged in. And the dial method that's being used in this campaign, currently it's the ratio dial method. Now, some of these things, all of these things as a matter of fact, you can see in the campaign itself. We're just giving you a summary of what it is here. Just in case while you're looking at the real-time screen you realize that, well, you have 2 agents and your dial level is a little low. Maybe you want it to be bumped up to 2 or 3 or 4 numbers to be dialed per agent. You're seeing that the transfer in rate of calls is a little bit delayed, so you want to get more calls dialed so you can get more calls sent into them. So the next row is the hopper level, and the hopper level by default is set to 100. This can go as high or as 200 or 300 or even higher depending on the seat count in your campaign. The next one to that is the dropped and answered. Now, as I said right above, we've already dialed 18 telephone numbers and so far, as after clicking resume for these 2 agents, and 5 were dropped and 16 were answered. Okay, so 5 calls got dropped and 16 got answered by agents, meaning it was either picked up by an answering machine or something like that. It doesn't mean you actually spoke to a person. It means calls that were sent into an agent. All right. Now, the DL difference, the dial level difference, and some of these other ones really not too important to point out here, but just in case, there they are. Now, this one is important, the statuses. Here, we're going to give you the statuses, dial level statuses 1 through 10. Remember, we talked about that in previous segments about your dial status 1 through 10. So your dial status is 1 through 10, and if I said that incorrectly, it's your dial status number 1 through 10 found in your campaign will be listed here. So if you have 10, as you see in this case, we are showing 5 because apparently only 5 are configured. And you see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 commas, meaning we could have 5 others, or dial status 1 through 10, all shown here. All right, the last row here is leads and hopper. And leads in hopper is very important, because if you're looking at this screen or an agent has called you up and said, I got the red pop-up and it said the system is out of dialable leads, well, this is a place you could look. If this is set to 0, it means there's no leads in the hoppers for us to dial from to send in to your agents. Pretty easy. If this is set to 0, you need to go to this campaign. As you can see, a campaign is shown here, and you can click right from here. You could right click, open tab, go into this campaign, and you'll land on the basic view. So let's click on the detail view, and remember, this one I said it showed the first 5 dial status levels here. And that's what we were talking about, the dial statuses. And if I needed to reset the list as an example, well, we also can we show you this summary here in the leads description section that also will match. Those 9 leads in the hopper are the same ones that we're showing you down here. Okay, so what's happening here in this situation, I've got it on a page and that's a one I'll come back to. I'll show you this one later. It's what a closer style one would look like. Well, since we're here, let me just show you briefly. This is what a closer style one would look like. As you see, we're in a closer campaign as designated from the drop down up here, and we click submit. We picked it real quick and then click submit, and now we're in this closer campaign. Now closers don't have any leads in the hopper. They're sitting there waiting. There is no list to be worked in this situation. There's not going to be any dialable leads or any calls taken. Well, there might be calls taken today, excuse me, but in this situation, what's happening is this closer is sitting here. He's logged in as a closer. He's clicked resume, and he's waiting for an opener to send him in a call. And when that happens, well, he'll get sent in the call, and he'll see the data populated that's sent from the opener will transfer over to the closer. So let's move back to where we were. So here we have these 2 agents in this test campaign that are in a call, and you see they're talking to their prospects, and we break this down for you to show you how long, as an example, they're in a call. So let me go ahead and we'll have that agent. They're getting ready to wrap up on the other side there. So they're wrapping up their call, meaning they finished talking to their prospect. They're going to hang up on this prospect, and they're going to disposition their call, and then they're going to leave themselves in resume mode, and the dialer is now, you see, going to show you that is now placing one more call based on this dial level. We're telling the dialer to only dial 1, so it's dialing, and that telephone number that we're dialing is actually ringing, and 0 agents are waiting for a call. Well, in this situation, 0 calls waiting for agents. In other words, there's nothing for us to send into this agent yet because nobody's answered or he hasn't gotten an answering machine. So notice that the dial leads in the hopper have reduced by 1. We just dialed 1 number. And now it says again, no calls waiting. Well, it looks like we've encountered an answering machine, so the dialer has interpreted that he's actually speaking to someone because, well, there's a conversation going on with the dialer. It's an answering machine saying, there's no one here to take your call at the moment, please leave a call. So therefore it shows agent 1 is in a call until agent 1 dispositions this. He's got to hang up on the prospect, disposition it, and as you see, as I've click the hang up customer button, it is now showing the agent on pause because the system knows that the agent has told itself that he's not available until he finishes dispositioning. He may be writing comments in the comments section of the disposition box, and then he's going to select his disposition, either double click it or click submit, and he's going to put himself back in resume mode, and this is shown as in ready. So this agent is ready to take another incoming call, and the first one that we detect, whether it's a human being or we let an answering machine slip by, you see we're showing you what's happening. We're dialing this number, we're calling 1 number right now, and it is ringing, and 0 calls are waiting for agents. Now in this case, same situation happened. You see it's queuing here. This is a transitional stage between ready and in call. So the dialer knew that we were getting ready to send in a call. And now the agent has the call. It's another answering machine. In this case, we're simulating this to show you this. And we've clicked the hang up customer button. We've produced a disposition window, and we've just dispositioned. And everything you see here that's happening on the agent side, you see here, whether the agent is paused, whether they are ready, meaning they've clicked resume, or they are in a call. So in this situation, the prospect number, again, you saw was dialed, and they went ahead and they are now in a call with a prospect. And as you see, this agent 1, and now the timer is starting to tick down. This will go, and remember, every 4 seconds based on that go setting. It's set at go, so every 4 seconds that will automatically refresh for you. So you can see that this other agent, agent 2, is still in a call. And sometimes talking to a prospect, if you're on a hot prospect and you're really having your conversational flow is really good with them, you're going to be in a conversation for a long time potentially. Or you might be in the quick dialer type, meaning you've called someone up, they've told you you've asked for the lady of the house or the husband of the house, whatever the case may be, and they said you have the wrong number. You clicked hang up customer, you've selected the wrong number disposition, and the dialer has now started dialing the next number in the hopper for you. As you see, the hopper is decreasing each time, and the dialable leads is decreasing, telling you that we're going through the list, we're going through the numbers that have been loaded up. The numbers on the calls today is incrementing. The numbers on the dropped and answered are also potentially increasing. Now, we hope the drops are not. I think those are the same, but you can see that it was, I think, 16 answered calls before, and we've spoken to or been sent in to speak to 4 other people since then. And some of the dial level differences change, as you can see, but these figures are really not going to be that helpful to you. But it is important to know what these other status indications are that you're looking at and what to pay attention to. So in this situation, what we're discussing is, I've already shown you here that below these other statistical information things about dial level, statuses to be dialed. Remember, the statuses I mentioned were over here, to be dialed, the order of the leads to be dialed, that type of thing. Let me continue on. The lead filter, the hopper level, the leads currently in the hopper, the number of dialable leads in the list or the campaigns that you have, the active list that you have in the campaign, the number of calls being placed, right? All these things that you saw here that I mentioned to you, what you can see that's going on when your agents are actually logged in, have clicked resume. As you see, as soon as an agent comes off and is back to ready, it tells you how many calls are being placed, how many telephone numbers are ringing, and how many calls are waiting for agents. In this situation, we have 1 agent. We're dialing 1 number. When the number starts being dialed and is answered, you'll see that it'll change. This will disappear after 4 seconds, and then it'll show you that agent 1 is back in a call again with another prospect. Okay. Now, there's some very important features here that are nice for admins to know, and this is called the SIP listen or SIP barge, and that's very important. And in this situation, I've already gone ahead and opened it up for you, and it's here. And in order to get here, if you want to listen, you'll have to set up your X-Lite phone, and then it will allow you to listen in mute mode. In other words, you'll drop into this agent and prospect conversation with your microphone muted if you select this listen with mute one. But if you select listen, you'll have to remember to mute your microphone because they can hear you breathing. All right, so if you do listen with mute, you'll just be sitting in their conference room listening to the conversation. Now, there is also another option here when you click reports, and it's called the barge option. And this is kind of how you get there. Let me show you. You've clicked the words report. So let's just go back here, back to admin. I've clicked reports, and it takes me to my page where I have to make my choices, whether it's time on VDAD, and you remember the all campaign summary, or if I want to do SIP listen or SIP barge. Now, we don't have an IAX phone in service now, but if we did, you would use this. We use the SIP listen. So if you click the SIP listen, then it's going to take you here, and you have to pick the campaign that you want to drop in or eavesdrop on an agent in a campaign with a prospect. So in this situation, you would do SIP listen, and then once you click this, it would open up the Excite phone, and I apologize, my phone is not running at this time, so that's why we got that error. But you would click that. You would have had to have already configured your Excite phone with an extension from your account, and it automatically jumps you inside this agent and prospect conference room that they're having together. So those are some of the things you can see from the real-time screen. When you're in here, you can change this to all campaigns, and let me caution you, when you're on all campaigns, these numbers are now averages of all the campaigns, and they're not going to add up, or they're not going to make sense if you're trying to use these as calculations for just one campaign. This is all active campaigns. Whether anybody's logged in or not doesn't matter. But as you see, when I use this option, as opposed to each one of these ones that I had here before you, which I narrowed it down to just a specific campaign, remember, when I use this option for all, it's going to show me all campaigns and all agents who are logged in, whether they're a closer or an opener, as seen in this case. And as you can see, they're in different campaigns, as I'm showing you there, a closer campaign and a test campaign. Right? And we tell you things about what these agents are doing. Currently, we have 2 agents in call and 1 closer, meaning we are not dialing numbers at this time. So let me just narrow this back down for this one campaign. And again, no live calls. Why? Because we aren't dialing. The dialer knows it can dial 4 more leads. Okay, but we have agents, one who's on pause, and he's paused himself, meaning they're dispositioning, as an example, maybe. So as soon as they finish dispositioning and they've placed themselves back into the dialer or on resume mode, you'll see that they come back to ready, and the dialer starts dialing again, whatever the dial level is you told it to dial. So some things that are happening here, let's see, I'm not sure why, but the other agent has maybe gone to break or something like that, and that's okay, but we know that we can tell that they're on pause. Okay, and we can tell what extension they're logged into and these various different kind of things. So let me just pop up the phone here and see what's happening if this is the agent. And what's happened here is you saw agent 2, and that happens to be on this machine as well, is here and has gotten, he's in the dialer and he's gotten a call. So let's just go ahead and hang it up, disposition it, place ourselves back into the dialer, and you see now he's back in ready, and we're dialing a call, we're dialing a number to send into this agent. Now we're only dialing 1 number because we're demonstrating, but you could send this up as high as 4 telephone numbers, meaning your dial level could show 4 and be dialing 4 telephone numbers per agent. So now we've just finished dialing for another number, and we sent that into the agent. And this is how it will look. The agents will be in call. You see that we give you the legend down here of after how long. As you see, as it approaches the 1-minute mark, it turns to purple, so on and so forth, for how long the agents have been on a call. So 5 minutes, after 5 minutes, it gets a darker shade of purple, and so on and so forth. So we give you the legend breakdown here. It shows up in here, and as you see now, it's agent on a call for, it's showing for exceeding 10 seconds right here. So that's the color that we're on now, and then as it approaches agent on call, it's going to turn purple. So a lot of visual activity going on here, a lot of visual information for administrators to learn, to pay attention to help them understand what their agents are currently doing or what their agents might not be doing. Because as an example, as we move through this list, as you see, it only has 2 more calls to go. What's going to happen is that the hopper is, we're going to dial another number, and we're going to go through this, and we're going to, keep dialing until we can't dial anymore, whether it be due to local call time or whatever the situation might be. We've exhausted our list, and our list needs to be reset, and it's going to help us here. So again, we have agents who are in resume mode, as shown here by ready. We have 1 agent still in a call, And now the dialer is dialed the last number in the hopper, and we've told you you have no more dialable leads in the active list in this campaign, and the hopper is empty. In order for your agents to get any more calls, you'll have to reset that list and fill up the hopper. So why don't I just show you how that might work. So let's say you're sitting here as an administrator and you've realized you've been watching this, and your agents, whether they work at home or working in the next office down the hall from you, from here you could right click on this campaign, open in a new tab, go to that new tab, and you'll land in the basic view. Just simply click on the detail view and then scroll down, and you'll see that in that section, that leads description section, we're telling you no more leads in the hopper. And if you wanted to look at the hopper, we give you that hyperlink there. Right click, open in a new tab, and you'll see the hopper for the test campaign is empty. Well, what do I need to do? It's not very hard. I only have one list to look for. Well, I have to look for the list that's active that I want to be reset. So here it is. I just click on it. I have called all the numbers that the dial statuses will allow me to call, and I need to reverse these two columns. If you were with me in previous segments, you know what the called and not called columns are. And in order for me to be able to dial more numbers here, all I have to do is reset the lead call statuses for this list by saying yes. Click submit. You'll see that you get a notice that we're resetting the statuses for this list, and in less than a minute the hopper will fill up and you'll be good to go again on this list, and your campaign will be dialing again. So let me just show you that real quickly. And if you're on here, this will almost in real time, like I said, it's about 4 seconds. If it's on the go, it's a 4-second refresh rate. So the hopper will fill up with the telephone numbers. There they are. It took less than a minute, probably about 30 seconds. This is going to show you exact same thing. It's going to tell you that you have leads in the hopper. There's 8 of them. There's 8 dialable leads. And if you look at this, we give you the same information over here when you're looking at the hopper. So this is the real-time screen. Reports, as we refer to them, a real-time screen, segment number 2. Thank you for attending. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you in our next segment, which will be Form Maker. Stay tuned. Very exciting segment. Thank you. Goodbye.